The time has come for a big decision. At some point in your life, you're going to come to a crossroads. And then what? Do you take the safe path or risk the unknown? Is the right choice right in front of you or hidden where you least expect it? Be honest. How many times have you stopped to think about the decisions that changed everything? What would have happened if you had chosen differently? If I were you, I wouldn't miss the next second of this video because it can make you see your life in a way you've never seen before. Take the opportunity to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any lessons. Today we're going to meet a woman who made an incredible choice. A choice that not only changed her life but also history. Her name is Rahab, and her story is found in the Bible. Rahab was a woman of courage and faith, living in the ancient city of Jericho. Rahab reminds us that even when we feel far from God, even when circumstances seem impossible, He is always near, ready to help us make courageous choices. Choices that can change the course of our lives and lead us to a future full of hope and purpose. Rahab lived in the city of Jericho. She wasn't a princess or a rich merchant. Rahab's life was completely different from palaces and power. In fact, she was a prostitute, a very difficult and more than desperate situation for the time. However, even in her circumstances, Rahab had a spark of faith. She had heard about the God of Israel, the one who parted the Red Sea and guided his people with love. Subscribe and turn on notifications now so you don't miss any videos or series. Don't miss this chance to learn more about the Bible and become a better person. Jericho was a bustling city full of people and activity. But the people of Jericho did not follow the God of Israel. They worshipped other gods. The walls of Jericho were tall and strong, making the city seem safe and protected from its enemies. But Rahab felt that something big was about to happen. She heard rumors that the Israelites were approaching, the people who followed the one true God. One day, 2 Israelite spies secretly entered Jericho. They needed a place to hide, a place where no one would find them. They went to Rahab's house. Rahab knew she was taking a huge risk. If she helped the spies, the king of Jericho would be furious. But Rahab believed in the God of Israel and felt a deep conviction in her heart to help the spies. Rahab hid the spies on her roof, under stacks of flax. She knew the king's soldiers were looking for them and that her house would be one of the first places they would search. When the king's soldiers came looking for the spies, Rahab bravely tricked them. She stayed calm and convinced them that the spies had already left. She told the soldiers that the spies had already left the city. The soldiers, believing her words, went off in search of the spies outside the city walls. Before the spies left, Rahab made them a promise. She knew that the city of Jericho was destined to fall into the hands of the Israelites. She asked that they spare her life and the lives of her family when the Israelites attacked Jericho. Rahab pleaded for mercy, knowing that her only hope lay in the hands of the spies. The spies agreed, but on one condition. They needed a clear sign to identify Rahab's house during the attack. They instructed Rahab to tie a scarlet cord in her window. This cord would be visible to the Israelites and would guarantee her family's safety. The scarlet cord would be a sign, a symbol that the Israelites would recognize and respect during the attack. It would be a symbol of hope and protection for Rahab and her family. Rahab's courage and faith not only saved her life but also the lives of all her loved ones. The Israelites marched around the city of Jericho for 7 days. On the 7th day, the walls of Jericho fell, but Rahab and her family were safe. They trusted in the spies' promise and the power of the God of Israel. Because of her faith and courage, Rahab and her family were saved. Want to increase your faith and courage just like Rahab? Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss any videos or series that will help you grow your faith. Rahab's story is a testament to the power of faith and courage. Rahab, a woman who lived in Jericho, is a remarkable example of how faith can transform lives. She wasn't an ordinary person. Her life was marked by challenges and hardships. However, her story is one of the most inspiring in the Bible. Even coming from a difficult past, Rahab made the choice to believe in God. She heard about the mighty deeds of the God of Israel and decided she wanted to be a part of his people. Her decision wasn't easy as it meant betraying her own city and risking her life. She risked her own life to protect the spies, and in doing so, she saved herself and her family. When the Israelite spies arrived in Jericho, Rahab hid them in her house, knowing that if she was discovered, she could be executed. However, her faith in God gave her the courage she needed to make that risky decision. Rahab's story didn't end there. After the fall of Jericho, Rahab and her family were spared, as promised by the spies. But what's even more impressive is what happened next. Rahab not only survived, she thrived. She married an Israelite and became part of God's chosen people. Her husband Salmon was a respected man among the Israelites. Together, they started a family that would be remembered for generations. In fact, Rahab became part of Jesus' family line. Think about that. A woman who began her life as a foreigner and a sinner became an ancestor of the Savior of the world. This shows how much God can transform our lives when we choose to follow Him. A woman who was once rejected, who lived a life far from God, became a hero of faith and an ancestor of Jesus, the Savior of the world. Her story is a powerful reminder that no one is beyond the reach of God's grace. Rahab's story reminds us that God looks beyond our mistakes and our past. He sees our hearts and our intentions. He sees the potential we have to change and grow. And He is always willing to give us a second chance. He sees our hearts and desires to welcome us into His family. Just as Rahab was welcomed by the people of Israel, God welcomes us into His family when we choose to follow Him. He offers us a place of belonging and purpose. Like Rahab, we can choose faith and courage. We can decide to trust God even when circumstances are difficult. Faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite fear. We can choose to follow God, even when it's hard, even when it seems impossible. The journey of faith is full of challenges, but it is also full of rewards. God promises to be with us every step of the way. And when we do, God can do amazing things in our lives and through our stories. He can turn our weaknesses into strengths, our fears into courage, and our failures into victories. Rahab's story is a living testament to what God can do when we choose to trust in Him.